What's packing, everybody? Welcome back to the show. Thank you for joining me again. My name is Godchild, the first of his name. Today, we're going to be breaking down the 5 things. This will be 10 things, so I got to keep one hand down because there's only 5 things that we are going to be breaking down. Who, what, when, where, and why. The Green Bay Packers won against Cleveland 24-22. Real quick, just want to say thank you to all the new subscribers to the channel, man. We're definitely going up. Thank you for the love that you guys show on the vlog, and I hope to do more vlogs in the future when I get a chance to go tailgate crashing. All right, man, let's break this thing down with the first thing. That's who stood out, and I'm going to say for me, it was kind of easy to pick Rasul Douglas on defense and Aaron Rodgers, respectfully, on offense, with a honorable mention going to Preston Smith. The whole night, the defense was kind of up and down, and we'll talk about that more in a little bit. But as far as his standouts goes, I mean, he had 2 interceptions. This is his 3rd straight game, home game with interception. And, I mean, Rasul Douglas has kind of turned into a, you know, he's turned into the Jair Alexander we have at home, as the meme goes. As far as Aaron Rodgers, I mean, look, we all know my gripes with Aaron. You know, I'm not necessarily his biggest fan off the field. On the field, I have my criticisms. I'm very critical of Aaron Rodgers, and I always analyze him with a fine-tooth comb. But I mean, I gotta give it up to the man from Chico, California, the bad man from Chico, California, Mr. Aaron Charles Rodgers. Congratulations to you for breaking the franchise record, 445. I mean, let's just take a moment to give Mr. Aaron Charles Rodgers a round of applause. I think Rodgers, for the most part, is catching Tom Brady on that last turn as we hit the straightaway of the last 2 games of the season. I think if Rodgers has another performance like he did in this past game, in the next 2 games, we could throw 3 to 4 touchdowns a game, no interceptions, and like 250 plus yards or something like that, I think he'll be able to wrap up the MVP race. All right, the next thing is what was my biggest takeaway from the game? Well, I had 3. The first was the lack of balance in the play calling. Basically, they ended up 30 passes, 18 rushes. No, I'm sorry. I recorded 30 passes, 18 rushes, but it ended up being a total of 34 passes and 23 rushes, with 3 of those coming from players that weren't running backs. I think Rodgers, Lazard, and St. Brown had a couple of rushes. Me personally, I always like to see more balance. Like, if it's not going to be 50-50, I always prefer to see more runs than passes, especially with this offense, the way it's built, the way it's set up, the pieces they have in play. I think it benefits the Packers to run the ball more. And I just want to see them be more balanced. I mean, they evened it out in the second half, but I feel like a lot of that can be attributed to the fact that they were up. They had the lead, and they were trying to run out the clock in the second half, late in the 4th quarter. So it's like they started running the ball more. But I like to see them run earlier. I mean, the very first play out of the second half was an Aaron Jones run, and he took it for like 27 yards, and they just kind of really didn't. They handed it to him and Dylan, some more times over the course of the end of the game, but they could have did more. Okay, my second takeaway was the defense was like feast or famine. I mean, they gave up big plays. I mean, they gave up 20-something points. They had big plays. They had runs. Cleveland was kind of able to do whatever they want if it wasn't for the timely sacks, and they had 4 sacks on the night, and the 4 interceptions. So I mean, you had 4 sacks, and you had 4 interceptions, 2 by Rasul Douglas, 1 by Savage, and 1 by Chandon Sullivan. So the Packers need to clean that up. Now, I know it's a long season. I know, it's a season full of peaks and valleys, and right now this defense is going through a valley. You hate to see it at a time like this when they're about to, basically only a couple games left in the season. They hopefully going to get that first round bye, but it's like you want to be playing your best ball at this time, not kind of sort of falling off the wagon a little bit. So let's just hope that they can get this cleaned up with 2 divisional games to close out the season. The Bears and the Lions can get things. The Vikings and the Lions can get things back on track. And the last thing that stood out to me, or that was a takeaway, was LaFleur on that challenge. The challenge that he he had, I think it was at the beginning of the second half. It was a catch by Lazard or somebody who they were sliding and they looked like it hit the ground, but then maybe they would have got their hands up under it. Now, when I looked at the replay, it seemed to me like it should have been overturned. It was called incomplete. It seemed like it should have been overturned, but in the moment, I remember thinking to myself, like, what the fuck are you doing, LaFleur? You can't risk the challenge on this play that really, honestly, didn't really mean anything. Let's move on to the next segment, which is when was the biggest turnaround. And I'm going to go ahead and say that the Rodgers interception before the half, which led to that touchdown, was the big turnaround in the game for the Packers. At that point, they were only up by 2, and if it wasn't for a missed PAT and a failed 2-point conversion by the Browns, it would have been a tie game. Even though they were getting the ball coming out of the half, it was like you needed this to kind of carry some momentum into the half, and it really ended up being an important 7 points because they only scored 3 points for the rest of the game in the second half. So that ended up being a crucial 6 points. Where would I place this game on a scale of 1 to 10? I'm going to give it a 6. And I contemplated giving it like a 6.9. But honestly, when you really look at this game, and I know the Packers aren't fully healthy, but it is what it is at this point. And everybody's injured, and everyone has COVID issues. So, every team can bitch and moan about injuries and COVID. So, but given what the Packers had on the field, a 2-point victory over a Browns team that is also injured at home, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, now the Browns are like a playoff team or like a fringe team. So, I mean, they are a competitive team, but it's still like you only scored 3 points in the whole second half. That's bad. Your defense is looking like a shell of itself that it looked like early on the season. That's bad. You gave up a lot of plays. You really didn't stop Cleveland. They shot themselves in the foot, and then you made crucial turnovers. So you were really dependent on those turnovers, and you just didn't look good, and it wasn't balanced. And I think there was some bad. They looked a little sloppy. Devontae dropped the pass that hit him right in the hands. That could have gone for like a touchdown or at least like a big first down, keep the drive moving. Rodgers was off a little bit. I mean, they just weren't as sharp as you would like to see them be as the number 1 seed, having to, basically get ready to defend home field advantage, basically. The last thing is why they ultimately won the game. I'm going to say Rasul Douglas and those interceptions and the defense in general making big plays when you needed them absolutely the most. And the early onslaught of points that the offense was able to put up in the first half, those 21 points in the first half. I mean, those are the real big reasons, but mostly I think it was just the defense, man. The defense making big plays, and it's like if the defense isn't going to be as consistent as we had them, as they looked like in the beginning of the season, you hope that at least the big plays can continue with the sacks and the turnovers when you absolutely need them to produce, okay? That's it for today's show, man. I want to know what you guys think. What were your 5 things? Who stood out? What was the biggest, takeaways and the turning point and all that kind of stuff? Let me know in the comments down below. Until the next show, as always, remember, go Pack, go. Like, subscribe, comment, and thumbs up this video. And till the next time, man, remember, the Bears still suck. Peace.